All right, welcome back. Jacked Up July 9th, 2024. Yours truly, Jack Hillgrove from WTOV 9 with you, talking sports up and down the Ohio Valley. And a big weekend for sports in the Ohio Valley. A banner coming to WesBanco Arena, ladies and gentlemen. The Wheeling Miners, AAL2 League champs in their first season in the Friendly City. We're going to talk about the journey with head coach, Coach Josh Resignalo, the head coach and the general manager of the Wheeling Miners. Coach, first of all, congratulations on a great season, and thanks for taking some time with us this afternoon.
Absolutely. Appreciate it.
Talk to me a little bit about, if you can, from the start. So doing a little bit of research leading up to this, it seemed like that you were given the job and offered the job and accepted it back in January. So from that point, just if you could kind of walk us through, becoming the head coach and GM of the Wheeling Miners and what it was like, really putting this roster together.
Yeah. So, there's a lot of stuff that goes into it. For me personally, this is my 15th season coaching this year, 17th total in the indoor world. So the cool thing about what we do is it's a small network fraternity. So, just the coaches all around, whether it's outdoor, indoor, the arena style, indoor style is just the same. So it's a tight knit group all around. Obviously everyone don't like each other, within that group, but it's still, you still respect the guys for their jobs and those type things. So through the years, I built a pretty good network across the country from scouts, and I always deal with a couple of agents. Most recently this year, I actually joined the staff with the National Scouting Combine, where they do a national or annual combine, usually the week before the actual NFL combine. There in Indianapolis, we do it at the facility where the Colts do some of their training camp workouts and whatnot. So really getting involved with them and working that combine introduced me to who is now our director of player personnel. Jay Wilson was the director of scouting for the scouting combine. And so he's local to Wheeling. So when I say that, everything pretty much that we planned on doing and the vision for where we wanted to go, everything just was really just falling into place like it was supposed to happen. Then end up finding out that one of my high school teammates lives in Wheeling, West Virginia. So, and I didn't know that. I thought he lived in Ohio, but he saw us come across the news one day and said, Rez is bringing a team to Wheeling, West Virginia. So, that was pretty cool. And then, so working with him and Jay and really getting a feel for some of the local guys, I known Coach Mott for quite a bit through some other events that we do. I do all football stuff. So I've been blessed to be full-time football. I do coach high school, but I go from high school to arena. Then we bounce around to different combines, and I'm always trying to find the best guys. So recruiting has been very easy through the years. And when you build the relationships with the players, sometimes that's the best form of recruiting from the players because they're there experiencing it, and then they can share with their former teammates and friends, and like, this is the place where to be. So that's pretty much how we put the roster together, through some help with some of the players. Jay did a good job. We brought on someone else getting prepared going into the NAL, Ben McToy. So he's been big on bringing in some players for us. So it's been a collective effort. I definitely don't do it all by myself. I am in the forefront of everything and I got my hand on everything, but I still got to have good people around me to help make this happen.
Yeah, absolutely. So you guys, you put this roster together and you guys start playing games in April. Talk a little bit about, maybe the role that you and the staff play, and you compile these guys together, right? You think that, they've got the talent to give you a winning product on the field, but you got to get them to like each other, or at least, get them to be able to play with one another. So what goes into that from a coaching standpoint, bringing these guys in from all over and getting them to gel and put a good product together on the field?
Well, being in the league that we were in this year, I had an idea that if I put the roster together, what I usually put together, we're going to do very well in this league. So it also made me look at guys a little bit different, because being in the type of league that we were, some of the guys that may have been playing previously or that would have been able to be recruited wasn't really interested in this league. So it helped me look at guys a little bit differently. Overall, this has been, I've said it many times, but this is the best overall group character-wise, meaning not no troublemakers, guys not doing any stupid stuff, They're very good out in the community. They're very approachable. Kids love these guys. Our businesses that we're partnered with, our community partners, everyone has had nothing but great things to say about the Wheeling Miners. And we stress it. I mean, we stress it to the guys of, if you mess up, it isn't John Smith, it's Wheeling Miners, does something. And so they've really taken a hold of that. And that's really what's kind of made this whole thing gel together as a family. I was just talking with the owner on my way into the house back to North Carolina. I came home to take care of a few things, but we were just talking about, he was talking to some of the guys and how they were bummed that they're leaving. And usually most guys are anxious to get the heck out and to get home and those type things. But to have guys that don't want to leave, that makes me know that, we're starting something here. We're already getting flooded with phone calls about people wanting to come because they've already expressed to their people and to their networks of, hey, Wheeling is going to be a great spot. You're well taken care of, and we're going to win. We are going to win. That doesn't matter NAL, what other alphabets they want to put together. We are going to be successful. And I'm proud of that. I'm proud of. I'm what I'm most excited about is bringing that experience to the Valley, because it's almost like the championship game was, because we had a great crowd. It's the biggest crowd that we had. They had downtown event parking going on, which that's never happened for any of our stuff. The line was the longest it had ever been through walk-ups to buy tickets. So overall experience atmosphere, it was one of those moments that, maybe they're buying in finally, maybe, yes, it's a championship game, but still, and I was telling everyone, this championship game should be our biggest seller, because every championship game that's been here has been a good crowd. So if we don't get that same crowd, then we know we're doing something wrong. But if we get the same crowd or better, we're on the right path. We just got to finish business, and sky's the limit for what we got coming up.
Yeah, absolutely. Talk a little bit too, if you could, about getting to know the Ohio Valley. You talked about, the crowd for the championship game. I was there for the first half until I had to get back up here and anchor the sportscast at 10 and 11, but it was electric. I mean, that atmosphere and the lower bowl inside WesBanco Arena was packed to the gills. Everybody was into the game. I left right before, I think, the fumble recovery for the touchdown at the end of the first half, and it was as loud as I had heard it in that place before. So getting to know the Ohio Valley, getting to know the community and in the city of Wheeling and the surrounding areas, what has that been like for you? And since you put a winning product on the field, I'm sure that, the folks are excited to get back out there and enjoy it again next season.
Yeah, so we're meeting people every day. I was trying to put something together. When you get to the postseason, it's hard to have a theme for what you're already going to do. Because you don't know if you're really going to be in the game. I always suspected we were going to be there, but it's still hard to prepare so far ahead. But we just met one of our players. He's Greek, so he joined the Greek Orthodox Family Church that's not too far from where they stay at the McClure. Forgive me, I can't remember the name of the church, but he met George Kellis's wife, and they got to talking about things. And so she's a member of that church, and just that connection. I was like, man, I wish I would have known this like a week ago, because then we could have done something really cool. Because I wanted to do a return of the champion type thing. With what we had going on, being in the championship, it was fitting. So big stuff with that, next year, hopefully. But it's all about the networking and the people that we're meeting. And it just, it seems like every day we're meeting someone different that can help us get in the right direction. A lot of our community partners has helped with that as well. Panhandle is a part of everything that you can think of, in the town. And, we're blessed to have them come on board. Zambito family from Family Dentistry and the flooring, getting those type businesses. Nick over at the Alpha was very instrumental of getting me in front of some people. When I first got here, it was like every Thursday, it was like a parade of people, and just introducing to me to, no wonder he was the mayor at one point, because he seems like he's got a lot of good friends. So all that and encompassed with being a sports town, it's, I don't want to say it's cheating, because it's easy being a sports town, but we still got to do things the right way. And we still got to there's still aspects we still got to prove ourselves. So people know that we're going to be here was the number one thing. And I think that was the most important thing for me to have that press conference. I could care less about, what we had coming up, because the football is important, because that's the product. That's what you're coming to see. But if we're not doing the stuff that we need to do in the community, then it doesn't matter about the football side, because we're running this organization as a business, because that's what it is. That's the only way we're going to be able to last for a long time. And I don't want to go anywhere else. I want this to be my stamp on, what I've done. And because I look at, for that area, some of the players that have been with the Greyhounds, some of the coaches that were with the Greyhounds, they're all coaching college football, head coaches and high school locally. Players have gone on to do great stuff. So I'm thinking if I can get there and establish this product and keep winning, I'll start getting some phone calls for high school stuff, or who knows, it's guys. I've already talking to my wife about moving up there. She sings, so she's able to. The music scene there is awesome from there to Pittsburgh. So there's a lot of cool stuff down the road. Everything I'm doing now is for 10 years from now. And that's what a lot of people don't realize or see, because all they see is when a team comes, are they coming back? Well, I hope that erased some of that doubt with the arena lease extension, with WesBanco, because that's got to go through a process. They had to get approved, through their board and whatnot. And with the success that we had, why not? Downtown is having a resurgence here, and within the next 2 to 3 years, it's going to be booming, and we're right involved in that right at the right time.
Yeah, and it seems like our newscasts here at Channel 9, left and right, or have something to do with the Streetscape project or something going on in downtown Wheeling. So it is exciting for sure. You brought it up a little bit too earlier. What are some of the challenges? And you're a football guy, a lifelong football guy. You talked about that. What are some of the challenges, and maybe, putting on the general manager's hat on the business side of things and drawing up a plan for that, a successful plan for that, but also saying, oh, we've got a game to play and I got to put a game plan together as a football coach. So if you could, what's it like kind of dancing with that line throughout the season?
The biggest thing, everyone tells me that I do too much, first of all. So your plate's full. I get the question of, how do you do this? How do you do all this stuff? And for me, it's easy because that's what I love to do. So, I learned early on, and you've heard it, find what you love to do and find a way to get paid doing it. And I have been able to accomplish that to a certain extent, right? I'm not in the NFL, so I'm not making millions, but I'm doing what I need to do to provide for my family. And for me, that is being successful. So I work first thing in the morning, late at night. My family's 5.5 hours away, so I'm married to my job when I'm in Wheeling. I don't go out. I don't hang out with the players. I don't do any of that stuff. I am strictly focused on what can I do to make this better? Who can I align with to help make this better? Because I feel like I've got it to where I can get it to. As we start adding more people involved in the organization and really get this thing to take off, because I'm going to be bringing on local people to do some of the stuff that we need, because we're here. So we need to make it a bigger thing. That's part of the business from the economic development. That's what helps everything grow. And when we can make that successful, I can't even tell you, we're going to be packed in WesBanco before it's all said and done. But overall, it's all about the grind. And getting good people around me that I can help delegate stuff to start running with some certain things. And we kind of done that a little bit to a certain extent, because when I'm coaching during the game, like, I can't be doing the general manager duties. I can't be the whole adage of shaking hands, kissing babies type thing, and making sure everyone's doing what they're supposed to do, make sure putting out any fires if anything pops up, because you can never predict something popping up, or someone's tickets are messed up, or something like that. So that's where, with my high school teammate, he was coaching with us. I put him in the role as assistant general manager, so he could basically be me on game days, because one, I trust him. I don't have to worry about him making any crazy decisions. And Matt Porter is a fixture there in the community. He's heavy in youth sports. He coaches. He's an assistant coach over at Belair High School. He's involved in so much with the Joker Travel Baseball Organization. So he has been very instrumental to us of helping us meet the right people that we need to meet. And really, it wasn't a hard transition at all from business to practice. That's why we practice in the morning too, by the way. So we get the practice out of the way. They can go do what the players got to do. And then by the time we're done and I get a chance to grab a quick bite to eat, businesses are operating. The people I need to go see are there. So it's just, and then I'm along my day. So.
Now back to the on-field product from this year. I mean, you couldn't have done any better. League championship, 10-0, and a big deal, and a huge reason why that was able to come to fruition was the quarterback in Grant Russell, league MVP, championship game MVP, 7 total touchdowns. You were familiar with him obviously before and leading up to this season. So talk about kind of bringing him into the fold this year and really what he meant to the Miners' success this year.
Yep. So when he was with the Columbus Destroyers, he ended up he didn't start the season as the starting quarterback, but I believe it was the first game or very early in the season. He had come in, they benched the starting quarterback because he wasn't doing very well. So they wanted to make a change. He came in, first pass, touchdown, boom. And then that was that. And then he was the starter for the rest of the season. Very dynamic player. His high school or his college was high school. He was a heck of a high school player, but his college resume, I mean, he was a Harlan Hill candidate runner-up or finalist. That's the equivalent to the Heisman Trophy for Division I. So for him to be in that role, I mean, you got to do something right because there's a lot of players that were very deserving of that to be a part of that group during that year. And then once the AFL folded in 19 after that season, I reached out to him about coming to play for me down in Carolina going into 2020. I felt I had probably one of the strongest rosters that I had. And I was very excited to go into camp because I want the coaches to be frustrated with each other to figure out why we need to keep someone over somebody else. That's when you're building something powerful.
That's a good problem to have.
Yeah, absolutely. There are some teams, unfortunately, that are struggling to figure out how are we going to add 10 more guys, or we're short 7-0 linemen, where we got to find them at. So, just doing that, sorry, I lost my train of thought.
No, it's all good.
There we go. So, and then COVID pops up, and then I'm like, come on. So he didn't do anything. He started teaching. We talked a little bit, but it wasn't going to work out for him. The IFL was supposed to put a team in Columbus, Ohio, and it never really came to fruition. So then he just stayed focused on coaching and teaching. And then when I got the job there in Wheeling, being an hour 45 minutes from him, that was a no-brainer to hit him up. And it just so happened that Coach Bruni over at Wheeling recruited him to ODU, put the word to Coach Mott that, we need to reach out to him because he can help in whatever aspect. And then really once we put out there, I called him again. I was like, yeah, I know Grant. I'll reach out to him. I didn't know that he was this coach, but that kind of all helped kind of like put it all together. And then he was excited to come back and, get back on the field. He was a little rusty starting off. I mean, his rusty was still better than everyone else's. But, so I knew we were cooking with something as once that first camp, because I usually do training camp for 2 weeks, usually about 10 practices before we go into the first game week. I did it a little bit different this year. I wanted to get in and get out. We did 4 days of camp, cut everyone away that we needed. We brought 40 in, we cut it down to 30. And honestly, he came to one practice, and he comes to one practice a week because he's a teacher. So the situation that he has with his principal and his staff at the school have done a tremendous job of allowing him to do that. So it was that was a whole collective effort for him to be able to do what he does for us. And we've been blessed for that. We talked a little bit about with him coming back, is he going to come back? And he's definitely going to come back if he's playing again. He just recently had got married at the beginning of the year and just went on his honeymoon. That's why he missed the playoff game, which that's a whole nother, that could be a whole nother show by itself. But they want to start a family. They're talking about that and, soon. So he's really up in the air about what he wants to do. And I respect that. It's cool to be able to be a dad, but it's even cooler to be able to be a dad at a younger age where you can kind of, be there and do all the things and be involved. And, so I'm okay with that. I do got some feelers out with some stuff. So, I got my people are out there working already from we've been recruiting since we announced we're coming to the NAL because of all the player. I mean, our database is awesome. We're going to put together another strong product on the field. Majority of our guys will be back. That's why I treated this season as if we were in the NAL or another league, just to be competitive. And once you build that camaraderie, you can't break that. And then now it's how do we fill in these other pieces that we need to mix in? Because unfortunately, not everyone will come back. And some guys will go on and want to do their own thing and go test the water somewhere else. But I always tell guys, the grass isn't greener on the other side. Water your own, make your own green, and then we can keep it moving. But we haven't had any character issue, dudes. I mean, it was very, for me, it was rewarding to coach these guys. They're very coachable. That's the number one thing you want with players to find is, are they coachable? Because if they're not, then they're not going to be able to grasp what you're wanting them to do. So we're just excited all around with our player stuff. And, Grant comes back. I mean, he's our guy, 100%. But if he doesn't, we're gonna have a guy that can sling it.
Now, we brought it up a couple of times, or you did, so we could talk about it now. The move to the National Arena League in 2025. Looking at it on paper, I mean, it's going to be some long trips. You've got teams in Colorado, Oklahoma, Sioux City, Omaha, and then Carolina, who, and you talked to me about that earlier after the press conference, could be a potential homecoming for you, which would be kind of cool. But just talk a little bit about the move to the NAL, what that does for you guys, and ultimately, maybe how that might change a little bit how you do business.
Well, the biggest thing is we won't have any 77-3 games or 88-10 or, stuff like that. Well, could we win some games by 20 or 30? Sure, because as you saw in the game, and you mentioned it yourself, the strip fumble, scoop and score for a touchdown. Then we got a quick stop, and then we scored again right before the half with that jump ball into the end zone. So just right there is a 14-point swing, 14 points just like that. Then we're getting the ball back to start the second half, drive down and score. So right there, we're 3 possessions up. So it can get very ugly quickly in this game. And that's what I love about it, because at the same time, you could get down and be down 3 or 4 scores, and then before you know it, you're battling back for the win, just like Omaha did in their last 2 games. They were threatened to lose, and then even the championship game, they had to battle back and end up winning in the second overtime. So the games are going to be very exciting. Got some really good players in this league. A lot of name guys that people are going to remember that been around. Verlin Reed Jr. He's playing quarterback for Sioux City. He's an Ohio State Buckeye guy. There's other guys. Nate Davis from Belair High School area. He's the quarterback for San Diego out in the IFL. So there's guys that people know and different leagues that everyone's going after the same guys. So people are moving around, and because the players are on 1-year contracts, so they really look for the best situation for them. Don't really have to do much of anything different. From a business standpoint, I ran our budget based off of if we were going to be in that league. So when we did make the move, we had very little bit. The player salaries is a little bit different because there's a salary cap, so they can make a little bit more money. So we're talking very minimal changes to that versus operating at a very low end, make the jump, and then boom, now our operating budget is crazy. So, we definitely didn't want to do that. So I positioned us to make that transition very easy. From a playing standpoint, the rules are a little bit different. We'll have 2 guys in motion versus 1. The running game is much more impactful in this league. Some of the defensive stuff is a little bit different rules wise. You can have 1 linebacker in the box. Offensively, you can take the running back out and go empty. So there's a lot of cool things that we can do. I'm looking forward to it because outside football, I'm an air raid spread guy, RPO, screens, all that stuff. So that really fits right into what we're doing because the indoor rules is a lot more like outdoor football, just inside 8-on-8.
And we've talked about it too, the lease extension for with WesBanco Arena through 2026. And just talking to you and sensing your passion for this thing and where you're building it. I mean, I guess it's safe to say, right? The Wheeling Miners are going to be around and they're here to stay. And it's got to be something that, residents and sports fans in the Ohio Valley can really get behind and get used to in our region.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, we're starting to see one of our biggest successes within our season game day specifically is our merchandise. Our merchandise gets sold. It flies off the shelves. My merchandise team, those girls do an amazing job. We try to keep it fresh each week, something new. But now we're starting to see the stuff out in town, and we're starting to see the kids wearing it at school, and we're seeing it at the grocery store. We went to the movies last night there at the mall in St. Clairsville. I saw a couple kids wearing shirts coming out as we're going in. I mean, that I didn't see that when we first got here because we didn't have stuff. Then as the season goes, you don't see it, and then you see the stuff trickling around the area, downtown, and it starts slowly spreading. And our focus this year going into this off season is a 1 hour radius around Wheeling. That's how I feel that is a good enough market for us to focus on and really make this thing take off. And our first year in the NAL, I am so excited for an away team to come here and play, because we are going to be one of the toughest places to play in the country.
Coach Josh Resignalo, head coach GM of the Wheeling Miners, fresh off of an AAL2 league championship and a 10-0 season. Coach, I'm excited to be a part of it from a coverage standpoint for the future, and I'm really glad that you guys were able to get it done in year one. Thanks for hopping on.
No problem. We definitely appreciate all the coverage and all your guys' support. Big things coming, so we're looking forward to it.